back, everybody. It's your girl Cassie J, and I am back today to bring you another review. Today we are doing the 90-Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. And listen, this episode was so good. I was looking forward to this episode. When I seen the preview last week, I could not wait to get in here and talk to y'all about this because it was so much going on. I said, oh yeah, this little 2 hours is gonna go by so quick for me watching this show. Whew. I don't even know where to start. Like, really, as I'm looking through my notes, it wasn't, probably the most boring person was probably Larissa. And she wasn't even all that boring either. But, I mean, yeah, let me just start with Larissa. Okay? So, Larissa has talked to Eric about going to go get some plastic surgery. She wants to get her boobs done. She wants to get a nose job. She wants Eric to pay for it. And it's about $25,000 to $30,000. Okay. I don't know what plastic surgery costs. I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay. Eric was saying that he does not want to pay for this unless they come up with a contract stating how much she's going to pay him as far as interest goes. Because he's not just going to pay. He's not going to just give it his money without knowing that he's going to A, get all of his money back. B, he's going to also get some interest back on top of that. Now, when he said that, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, for real, if my man said that, listen, I'll pay for you to get your plastic surgery, but you got to pay me back. Cool, in a sense, because, I mean, it is a large amount of money to be asking for on one side, but on the other side, it's like, okay, my man is asking for me to give him money back for doing something for me. But in their case, I understand the fact that you haven't been together, your relationship's kind of shaky, but you also are asking for interest, like you're a bank and you're loaning her money. I thought that was kind of crazy. But, I mean, if she agrees to it, then, I mean, she agrees to it. He also asked her, I just want to make sure that you're doing this for you and you're not doing this just to maybe rub this in the Colt's face later. She hesitated a little bit like, no, I'm doing this for us, for me, you know, and to improve our relationship and our sex life. I think it's for all of the above, to be honest with you. I think she really do want to get the boob job and to get her nose done because she is working on improving her body. But I think, like with anybody, let's be honest, who does not have somebody from their past that they want to go, you know, once you did something great, whether it's improved your body, whether it was get a brand new car, get a brand new house, get a brand new job, did something, accomplished something in life that you were either told you couldn't do, wouldn't do, but you've done it. You want to show off. You want to show them, yeah, look at me, look what I've done. Like, it's human nature to want to sometimes throw in people's faces that I've accomplished something. So I don't feel like she's solely doing it for him. She does want him to know about it, though. So speaking of Colt, we'll go right on ahead and talk about him. Colt has invited Jess to come to Vegas. He wants to see her again. He wants them to try to continue to work on their relationship. He wants to talk to her about some of the things that they need to discuss that he has been keeping a secret from her. He's been lying to her. Let's just keep it 100. He's been lying. He has not told her the truth about these other women he was talking to when they broke up. Is it right? As long as y'all are broke up, yeah, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna bother you because you feel like, okay, we were taking a break for whatever reason. However, you're broken up, so you can't be entirely upset, but I get it. And especially the way she acts, I don't see this going no other way but left, okay? Not to add any more weight onto this already strained relationship. He also has to let her know that Vanessa has moved in as well. Apparently Vanessa was going through some issues with her divorce. She needed a place to stay. And he was open arms and open legs and let her come in. I don't care what nobody say. During that little time when he quote unquote was taking a break from Jess, he was on and popping with Vanessa. You ain't telling me that Vanessa's staying in that house and she ain't came and knocked on that door and came right up in that room with them big old thighs of his. Because he was showing them big old thighs. Listen, Colt's a liar. Jess need to go on about her business. If he want to be with Vanessa, then he need to be with Vanessa. But stop dragging Jess along through this. Like, let her go on and live her life and find somebody else that can deal with her dramatics. Because she's a little bit dramatic. She's a little bit jealous. She's a little... Maybe her jealousy is warranted. In this sense it is, because of how he's lied and stuff. But in general, I feel like she's just a jealous person a little bit. She probably needs to work on that. Work on herself. And find the right relationship for herself. And go on about her life. Now, Elizabeth and Andre. I was a little bit proud of Elizabeth this episode because normally Andre is running over Elizabeth. This week, she stood up to him at the airport. They went to go pick up her sister, her mother, and her stepdad. And when they were talking, you know, he was like, we're going to have a good time. She was like, you're right, we are. We won't have any problems. And the forcefulness and the sternness that she had in her voice, I was just wondering, where has that been this whole relationship? Because it seems as though you can stand up to him. It seems as though you can put him in this place. And I just wonder, why haven't she done that more? Or maybe she has and we just haven't seen it on camera. So everybody gets there. Her sister is throwing shade left and right about how dreary and dry this place looks. It just looks like a depressing place. Andre was just like, it's November. This is how it looks in November. It's not full of sunshine and sun rays. It's not a vacation spot during this time of year. The relationships are already tense. And I just feel like this is not making it any better. Her throwing shade is not helping. Let's just try to make the best of this trip. We're here for a wedding. Let's just try to get through this together as a family with a smile. Now, once everybody gets there, they go to Andre's mom had prepared dinner like she has done when Elizabeth and Andre got there, when Chuck and Charlie got there. That's just what his mother does. It's a part of their culture, their tradition. That's what they do. So everybody's there. They have a good time. It was a great day. You know, it was nice. Wonderful. They were singing, they were dancing, everybody was getting along, and it was a little awkward because Chuck and Charlie are still kind of, you know, on edge because of the fight from the other night. So they're like, yeah, it's real interesting seeing him act like this when just a couple of days ago he was trying to fight me, and he was trying to fight the brother and telling the dad to get out. So it's just real interesting to see him act like this today. We already know why he's acting like this. He just wants you to keep that check coming, writing. Let's keep the money flowing. So after the family leaves, as far as Elizabeth and Andre, the rest of Elizabeth's family are together, and they're talking about how they just want some regular food, like some scrambled eggs and some cooked meat, like some cooked bacon, not raw bacon. They asked Chuck and Charlie how was their time so far, since they were there just a couple of days before them, and they kind of let them know about the fight. Naturally, everyone is shocked because they're like, we're here to celebrate your wedding. How could you be getting into a fight with her brother and dad? And I know in the back of their mind, they're really thinking like how I be thinking, how dare you get in a fight with my dad when he's the one paying for all of this? What's wrong with you? So now there's more tension. So it's like another strike against Andre, because it's like, now, you know, I already didn't like him, so now I don't like him even more. They go dress shopping. So it's Elizabeth, it's her sister, her mother, and her sister-in-law. They're out shopping. The lady at the shop is a translator. So while Elizabeth is trying on her dresses, her sister decides to talk to the sister-in-law to ask about the fight and ask her, was she there? You know, what does she know about it? Just trying to get some intel and some insight. She's trying to get the dirt. She just want to know what's going on. And I'm not mad at her for wanting to know, because Elizabeth wasn't going to tell. We know Andre is not going to tell. And I was surprised that her sister-in-law opened up, because so far she's been kind of like, do whatever the men say. This is how we do. You know, Elizabeth, you're wrong for not listening to Andre. So she actually was like, I wasn't surprised that Andre did that. He's done it before. Me and him have actually gotten to, you know, altercations before. And I was a little bit surprised to hear her say that a little bit, that her and Andre had gotten to altercations, but not entirely, because he seems like the type that just likes to argue and like to have his way. And if he doesn't get his way, then it's going to be a problem. So while they're having this conversation, Elizabeth is right in the, you know, the changing room, and she's can hear it. It's not like she's down the hall. So she comes out and was like, can you please not do this right now? I'm trying on these dresses. This is not the time for this. And they had a valid question. They was like, well, when is the time? It's not like, you know, we can just, you know, hop in the car and come over here and see them anytime. This is the only time that we'll get a chance to have this conversation and try to find out about this man that you're married to. And they also questioned her as far as, when this fight happened, what did you do? How did you address Andre? How did you handle it? And I was stern with him. I let him know that this wasn't right. I told him he needed to apologize. I said, did you have the same tone where, you know, like you're talking to us? And she said, yes, I did. They know how their sister is too. They know that she has let him run over her at times. They know that he talks reckless to her. And that was their concern. And I get it. If he would threaten your dad and your brother and talk to them sideways, how is he talking to you at home? Like, come on, girl. I don't know what she sees in him. Even her sister-in-law was like, I don't know what she sees in him. The rest of the family is like, we don't know either. She even was like, she was perfectly fine without doing this wedding, the second wedding. The only reason why she was doing it was because they had promised his family that they would do this wedding. You know, it's tradition. I understand a lot of these cultures, a lot of these other countries have, you know, in their culture, they have these traditions and things. But it's really taken a toll on some of these relationships. Their beliefs in I was trying to think of the word. It's really taking a toll on these relationships. So we gonna see if they gonna go through with this, but I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of another couple that is having cultural differences, Michael and Angela. Now, I just want them two just to hang it up and move on. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Michael and Angela were fighting still because Angela's upset that Michael is insisting that she be submissive, and that he is telling his family, yes, Angela's going to submit to me when we get married, but then telling Angela, no, I don't expect that from you. I expect our relationship to be 50-50. She gets so upset. She's calling him out of his name. She's calling him an F-boy. She's calling him a little B. She's like jabbing at him in the face, not hitting him. But nonetheless, you do this to somebody's face, I might react and hit you back, because I didn't know, like, you were in my personal space. I didn't know if you were going to hit me or not, so therefore I reacted. Like, you shouldn't taunt people. is the point. Don't taunt people. Don't act like you're going to hit them. And then if they hit you back, then you're going to play victim and be like, oh my God, they hit me. Well, you was act like you was going to hit them. They argue. She's calling off the wedding for the 15th time. She's like, I'm going home. I don't need you. I can find me another man. He's still chasing after her. I don't understand why. I get that you might be you're in love. I'm not going to say might. I don't want to question your love. You're in love. You know this woman goes against everything that you want and need out of a woman. She doesn't believe in your cultural beliefs, your values, everything you grew up knowing that you're supposed to have in a woman and a wife. She's not going to be able to have kids. She doesn't respect you as a man, as an equal most of the time, and she's shown you several times. And you don't seem to be able to be faithful to her for long periods of time when she's not around. Why are you still pursuing this relationship? And I can ask her those same questions with everything I said about what he is struggling with. I can say the same to her. Knowing this about him, why would you want to continue a relationship with him as well? Nonetheless, she decides that she wanted to sit down with Michael and his mother and let her be a deciding factor in if they can get married or not. Listen, I'm not marrying you and your mama. I'm marrying you. And if I can't decide for myself if I want to marry you, I'm damn sure not about to let somebody else make a decision for me. I don't care what your choice is. I don't care what your opinion is. I just don't see how you can let somebody else's decision be your sole deciding factor on whether or not you want to marry that person or not. I don't get that. I understand wanting people's blessings and needing people's blessings. That I'm not opposed to. Let me make that very clear. I'm not opposed to having people's blessings. But if you have made up in your mind that you do not want to marry somebody, I don't see how getting someone's opinion or blessing is going to be your deciding factor on going ahead and marrying them. Well, if you say I should marry him, then I'm going to go ahead and marry him, even though I said I don't want to. I don't want to marry you. I'm not going to marry you. That's it. I don't live in a country where arranged marriages are a thing, so therefore I have a freedom and the choice to marry who I want to marry. Had to get it out there because I was real confused on why she went ahead and did this. So she calls a translator over. And then she gets an attitude with the translator because when she's talking to the translator, letting her know, I called you over here because Michael normally translates between me and his mother, but I don't feel like he relays the message to her exactly the way I'm saying it, and I need you to do that for me. And the translator is listening to her, but she looks over at Michael too, and she was like, I don't know why you're looking at him. You need to be looking at me. Talk to me. I'm talking to you. Don't look at him. I mean, y'all are both in the room. I'm just saying, like, when I talk to people, I try to look at everybody in the room like I'm talking, like I'm acknowledging everybody. I'm not just gonna be like staring you down. Like, okay, Angela, like, she's not trying to steal your man, baby. She was just acknowledging that he was there. She didn't want to act like he didn't exist. I mean, you were referring to him. You did say, I talk and Michael does not translate. So if you said Michael and she just continued to look at you, she be doing the most. She just be too extra for me for no reason. So Mama comes with Michael's brother. They talk. She lets his mother know that I am not willing to be submissive in the way that you guys say that I need to be submissive. I am willing to have a 50-50 relationship with him. Will you still bless our relationship? She agreed to that. She was like, I don't mind you. She said, I think that the bottom line is what you're saying is that you just want to be respected in your relationship. You want equal respect, and I'm okay with that. Great. Translator leaves. I thought it was done. But then they bring up the conversation about not being able to have kids. So this was my issue here. Michael continues to tell his mother that it may be difficult for Angela to have kids. I don't think that's the case. I think the case is that she's not going to be able to have kids. So it seems as though Michael is still continuing to do what you just was upset with him about. You're telling the family one thing, and then you're telling me something. Like, you're not being 100% honest. And if you can't do that, that's not a characteristic of somebody that I want to marry. I don't need you to give me half-truths all the time. I need you to be honest with me. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't gray it out. I need you just to be honest with me. So, because he has given his mother the impression that there is still a chance that Angela might be able to have kids, she went ahead and blessed the marriage. So Angela got happy all over again, thinking that, okay, great, we'll be able to have a marriage. We'll be able to get married. I still don't know why she wants to get married, because I just don't. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe we won't make it to the end. Now, Tanya and Sinjin. Another couple I feel like shouldn't have made it to the altar from the beginning. When Tanya said that Sinjin wasn't her soulmate, that should have been a sign for Sinjin that you should have probably got back on the plane and went back to South Africa, but you didn't. Now, they're having a good time. They're having a barbecue. Everybody's happy. Food's there. We're sitting around. We're talking. Sinjin makes the comment that he wants to buy some land in South Africa. He wants to buy him some land down there. He wants to come back. Tanya says that she does not want to live in South Africa. She never has. She never will. That is not what she's wanting to do. No, that is not an option for her. So this is the beginning of the argument for them two, because Tanya then goes into the fact that Sinjin does not, basically he has not grown up. He has not thought out a complete plan. He has not executed a plan. And this is a problem for her because she's getting older. She has things that she wants to do, like have a baby. When she brought up having a baby, he made the comment, who's to say that we're going to have a baby? Who's to say I want a baby? Now, Tanya had made that very clear early in their relationship that she wanted kids. But Sinjin did say that he was not sure if he wanted kids. He didn't say he did not want kids. He said he wasn't sure. It seems like these two haven't had a lot of those serious conversations that they needed to have. Or they might have had them, but the other one is either ignoring the other one or hoping that they might be able to change the other one's opinion somewhere down the line. One of the two things are happening. So they get to going back and forth. And then his parents are trying to, mediate the conversation. Sinjin is, as he says, a free spirit, and he hasn't figured out solely what he wants to do. So he's just flying by the seat of his pants. Tanya is not that girl. She's very structured. She knows what she's going to do from day to day. She gets up, she does this, she does that. The next day, she knows she's going to do this, she's going to do that. She knows what her goals are and what her plans are to get to where she needs to be. Sinjin is not so much that guy. That is the kind of guy that Tanya needs in her life. That is not the kind of guy that she has married. However, she knew this when she married him, and that's what his family was trying to let her know. Did you not know that Sinjin was like this? And she said, well, I knew, but I figured at some point he would settle down. And they was like, well, he might, but he's not there today. And it seems like your patience is wearing thin. So what are you going to do? And she got upset that they were defending him being so free and not committing to a career or anything, it seemed like, in life. And they said, well, you know, basically it's like you have to make a decision when enough is enough. And she was like, well, when is that? Like, well, how do I know when to just let go? And it's like, unfortunately, no one really can answer that question for you. You have to make up in your mind how long you're willing to wait for this man to make a decision in his life and settle down and start being an adult or move on. So she gets up, she storms off, and his family was kind of like, you know, she pushed a little bit too much. She was a little bit coming up a little bit too controlling. And she comes back out, she's upset, and she's just like, now, had I did this in front of your, you know, you did this in front of my parents, you know, it would have been a different reaction, da 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 da. And he was like, but I didn't start an argument with you. Like, you just, you know, got all upset and got all irate, and so she felt like he was trying to make her seem like the bad guy. And I don't feel like he was trying to make her seem like the bad guy. He was just letting her know, you're looking for a man to be a certain way right now. And I'm not there. So either you want to stay with me and stay with me and wait, or, you know, you might need to go and find somebody else. But right now, this is not... Yeah. Tanya's been controlling for the longest, and part of it is because he is so just blowing with the wind, and she feels the need to have to be an anchor for him. So I don't know how that's gonna go, but I do feel like, yes, Sinjin does need to grow up. You are, I don't know, I forgot how old he was, but you're old enough that you do need to grow up, and you need to be a man and get a job, a regular job, and start making adult decisions. You do. So, yeah. Now, lastly, and the reason why I saved this couple for last is because I have like a whole page of notes on them. This was probably the most entertaining part of the show for me. Kalani and Oswalo. It's so sad to say that most of these couples are probably going to end up in divorce court eventually. But Kalani and Oswalo. Kalani decides to go to talk to Oswalo's mother and sister about the whole money conversation. She goes down there, they're all outside, and she basically lets them know, we are not going to give you money, and yes, it's because of me. I am going to be the one to make the decision. And I'm not going to give you money because Oswalo makes $1,000 a month and you want $1,000. Like, that's just not going to happen. Because if he does that, then we'll be poor. So I have made the decision for our family that we will not be giving you money. And that's just that. And I don't feel bad for it. Basically. So, naturally, his mom and sister did not like that. And they let her know that it was their culture, and she should know that because her father is Samoan from, and it's their culture to do that. It's their culture to take care of their family, take care of their mother. His sister was like, you know, I work, I take my kids to their events and here and there. So she said, so you won't be poor if you give us money because you stay with your mother and father. Your parents will take care of you guys. Then they suggested that maybe Kalani should get a job so that they will have more money so they can give. Kalani thought that was dumb for you to think that I'm going to get a job so I can be away from my kids to support grown folks. I totally agree with that. The system we have works for us. Why would I then get a job to take care of grown people outside of my house? I understand this is their culture, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody's culture, but I find that very hard to wrap my head around, that you want me to change my whole life to support adults. Can you not work? Can you not get some kind of assistance? And it's like, if everybody is supporting you, like you have multiple kids, Like, it just, how much money do you, I mean, you're saying one child got to give you $1,000. So if everybody is giving you $1,000, my God. But then she did make a comment, you know, this is not just for my mother. You know, we're sending money back home to our family. But so she makes the last comment saying that she did not care about her grandkids. She wanted her son back. She gonna take her son back and send him back to San Juan so that he can go back to providing for her. So that leads me to feel like, okay, the people that you sending this money back home to, can they not get a job like how Oswalo had a job when he was back there, so they can just provide for themselves? How many people are we providing money for that can't work, apparently, that we have to support? Because if Oswalo can just go back and get a job, then can they not get a job too? What's happening? I need to see the map. I need to see the charts. Now, I don't agree with this. I just think it's a bit much. I mean, I understand we, take care of our elderlies. We take care of our families. We do what we can do. That's a part of being a family unit. I get it. But it's just like, I don't see me taking care of a working adult, a able-bodied adult, just because they just don't want to. Like, I can't wrap my head around that. That's just me. So, when she said she didn't care nothing about them grandkids, I just want my son back so he can work to give me money. You just furthered the point of what she said. It's all about the money. It's not about a relationship with your child. You don't care nothing about no relationship with nobody, clearly, because you just said you don't care about your grandkids, and you said you want your son to go back to San Juan and leave his whole family behind just so he can continue to work to give you money. You don't care about anybody. You just care about yourself. So, at that point, Kalani was over. She said, I'm over this. This is dumb. I'm walking away. And she walked off. And as she walked off, his sister tries to, attack her from behind. And his mama's holding her back. So she gets home. She tells her sister. Kalani was talking to her sister. I think her name's like Coney or Connie. I don't remember exactly. I didn't write it down. Sorry. And she was just letting her know. She's like, well, how did it go? And she said, it was a mess. I'm ready to go. Can you watch the kids? I got to talk to Oswalo. We're packing. We're out of here. When she goes to tell childish Oswalo what happens, at first, he was supportive. And when she was like, yeah, your mom and your sister don't care anything about us. They were just saying that they just want you to give the money. They don't care anything about your kids. They said that I was lazy because I didn't work. They said that I should just go to work. Don't worry about it because my mom and dad will take care of us. Then they said they want you to go back to San Juan and go work, and so you can continue to support them. And he was just like, oh, that's not right, and I'm a little upset about it. But he also said in his interview that maybe Kalani was misunderstanding what they were really saying. There was nothing to misunderstand about. I don't care about your kids. There was nothing to misunderstand. I don't care about your kids. So the last thing she told him, she said, and when I was leaving, she said, your sister, that stands 4 feet tall, tried to fight all of me. I don't know what was wrong with her. She was like, he was like, well, what do you mean she tried to fight you? Like, you tried to fight me. She lunged at me and she said, and if she would have did that, I would have knocked her out. Instead of him continuing to be upset with the situation, he was like, oh, you saying you would knock my sister out? She was like, yes, I would have knocked her out. What are you talking about? If she would have touched me, yes, I would have knocked her out. He was like, but what if my sister would have knocked you out? Like, you don't think that would have happened? She was like, I've been fighting people bigger than your sister since the 3rd grade. Listen, that would not have happened. He was like, but I'm just saying it could have. It might have been a knockout for her. She said, if your sister would have touched any part, any molecule on my body, I would have dropped her. Period. Honey, I lived for that. But Oswalo didn't get it. Like, he missed the whole, like, the boat left and he was still on the dock. Because he is now arguing with his wife about whether or not his wife or sister would win in a fight. And she said that to him. She's like, they're assholes and you're now acting like an asshole because you're arguing with me about who would win in a fight. And that's not what this was even about. And then he had nerve to say, like, oh, so I guess you think that you could beat me up too? And she's like, I mean, I could, but that's not what any of this is about. Like, it's not about any of this. She was like, okay, you're stupid. I'm getting my stuff. I'm going. And when she leaves, you know, he's calling her names again, just like before when they went to California for the baby's birthday. I need for her to let him go too. Because let him go on back so he can make the money for his mama. And she can just take care of her kids. Like, he's too immature. He's just too immature. And it's not going to get no better apparently next week. But that scene right there when she said, if she would have touched any molecule on my body, I would have dropped her. Period. Yeah, I watched that scene a couple times. I just want y'all to know. That was everything to me this week. I was waiting for that scene to come up. And he's just sitting there looking goofy. Anyway, y'all, like I said, that was a very good episode. I was very happy about that. I'm glad we talked about this and everything. I look forward to talking to y'all again a little bit later in the week when we catch up on our other show. So, you guys enjoy the rest of your week and be productive and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.